She received her MBA in healthcare administration from Regis University as an undergraduate in healthcare finance. And she's been advisor and mentor to many facilities across the country, focused primarily in regenerative medicine and interventional pain management. She's devoted her last 5 years of her career in focusing more and more in regenerative medicine and helping physicians grow that part of their practice through her coaching and marketing strategies and techniques. Many of these practices have grown leaps and bounds. She's also a sought-after speaker and speaks nationally for many different groups, as well as is a guest author for a soon-to-released ASIP Regenerative Medicine book. When she's not working on her downtime, she loves enjoying time with her daughter and her husband in Idaho. Her daughter is a well-accomplished showing livestock and promoting agriculture across the country. And so many of their trips involve hooking up the trailer to the truck and taking their blue ribbon pigs or sheep to a new fair. So anyway, with that said, we'll turn the time over to Christy.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dan. Thank you so much. And I'm going to go ahead and mute you too. How does that sound?
That's great.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. I now have shared my screen and we are using a new platform today. So I just want to make sure everyone can see the screen. Can some of you go ahead and just say, yes, I can see the screen down in the chat box, and then we can go ahead and, okay, great. We've got a couple that are saying yes. I'm going to make this to full screen so we can jump right into our content. Thank you so much for letting me know that. You guys, Dana did a great job of introducing me, but I just want to take a moment to just let you know that it's just been my honor to work side by side with physicians for these past 20 years of my career. And just more importantly, these last 5 years, prior to moving into helping physicians grow in the regenerative medicine and the cash space, I was, doing more consulting work on the billing and the revenue cycle side. Great work that we had done. But now we're seeing a shift in that the insurance companies are not as friendly to us. And, physicians are experiencing a lot of frustration, including myself with, what some of the payers are doing. And it's really important now that physicians become savvy business owners. And that's really where I've been spending a lot of my time. And a great part of the element of this is helping physicians with marketing, because there are a lot of, things are new now. There's things that are different now that were not before. And it's important to make sure that we are marketing correctly. We're finding the right audience for our patient, for our practice, and helping bring those patients in, and then more importantly, make them loyal patients and loyal customers down the road. So 3 keys to successfully adding in regenerative medicine to your practice, or really any kind of service, is to have the proper frame of mind. If you're not sure, or you have not been sold on a product or service that you're bringing into your clinic, I can tell you right now that it is not going to be very successful. So when I work with physicians, or, and really anyone that might be working with you, if you're trying to bring in a product, if it's something you're feeling like you're just not sure you have enough information, or you're not sure that you're ready to start this, just wait until you have enough information, because it's important that you are ready to go, and that you are ready to really, bring on this product or service. So you must have the proper frame of mind. Marketing is going to be very important to implement ways to attract the right patient. You must have the right systems in place, not only to collect for services, but also the right system to market or sell the service or deliver the service. So your system might be, if you're bringing in platelet-rich plasma or ozone therapy, whatever that service might be, you want to make sure that you do have the right systems in place, and that you're offering the highest quality, so that is something you can use as a marketing tool. And all of these things start with a plan. So before we kind of keep moving forward, we're going to jump into a quick poll. We've got a couple polls in here. There's a couple we're going to just ask here really quickly. And one of them is, what has been your biggest challenge in building or growing your practice, and especially your regenerative medicine or any cash services that you have? You should be able to see this poll up on your screen, so that you can go ahead and just click on these. There's a couple of options in there, and just go ahead and answer as you'd like to. But just to kind of touch on the plan sides of things is that when you put a plan together, it's important to not just put that plan together, but also to review it, consistently to make sure that you're getting the results that you wanted. And so, we're going to talk a little bit about planning, make sure that we have a good marketing plan in place and just a really good system in place. All right. Looks like a lot of people have already kind of voted in there. This is just good information to have, and it kind of helps me kind of get a pulse for who's on the phone. We're seeing a lot of people answering all of the above, and that is a common answer. And that's why you guys are you're in the right room today, so that you can learn more about how to, just really how to gain access to the patients and how to create a consistent message. All right. I'm going to go ahead and close this so we can keep moving on and stay on time. And if you want to put anything in the chat box later on to ask any questions for me, please feel free to do so. All right. So 5 reasons. We're going to talk about the web for a minute, because it is important that we understand the different elements of the web, the way to use internet and the way to use internet marketing. The reasons why you need to be out there on the internet and have a strong message and a strong presence out there is because 81% of patients consider a practice with an active online presence to be more cutting edge. So if you put a website out there 4 or 5 years ago and haven't done anything to it, haven't refreshed the content, don't have videos, those kinds of things, chances are good your presence is not active. It's not strong. It's not current. And so you need to update that and refresh that. 55% of medical searches are about a specific disease. 43% are related to medical treatments. People are becoming very savvy about what their condition is and what the services are out there that are offered for those different diseases. So it's important that you have the right keywords or the tag words behind the scenes to help attract those patients. 80% of all internet users search online for healthcare topics. 90% of those people between 18 and 24 say they would trust health information they found on social media. We're going to go into social media. I know you guys already know, there's several of you that have heard me before. So you know that we talk a lot about social media, and 8 million Americans are looking for medical information on the internet every single day. So for those of you that are worried about finding patients, it's going to be pretty easy to start to find them once you create that niche market. All right. Let's keep moving forward here. Again, we're using a new platform, so I'm just making sure I got everything so you guys can all see it. So having the proper frame of mind, if you're implementing regenerative medicine or cash service or really any new service, it's important to understand that you're still an early adopter for a lot of these specialties. Even though it sounds like everyone is doing these kinds of services, everyone's bringing in these different things. A lot of people are, but they're not necessarily doing it well. One of the frustrations a lot of doctors have is like, yeah, I went to a course, I got excited about something, I brought it home, and it's literally collecting dust on my counter in my closet somewhere. Maybe it's been moved from the procedure room to the closet, and it's, just becoming something that you're just not using. You're still an early adopter because there's a lot of people in your position that aren't taking advantage of learning about marketing so that they can create a patient population that they're looking for. And that's okay. But just know that even though there's a lot of people out there offering a service does not mean that there isn't a patient population that you can still grab. You need to understand and believe in the science in whatever it is that you're doing. If you don't, it's going to be very hard to sell this to your patients. And we are in there is an aspect of selling in this space. And so you want to make sure that you do believe in the science of whatever it is that you're offering so that you can explain it to your patients in a way that makes sense so that they're able to say yes or no to something that you're offering. You and your staff need to know how to convert patients. We're going to talk more about patient loyalty, which is essentially is customer loyalty. And I want you to think about your own personal experience with different service industries out there. Why do you go back to a specific service, a place that provided you service, or why don't you go back? And then look at yourself, look at your practice, look at the way you operate, because those are some things you're going to need to take a close look at in order to, say, hey, we need to make some changes here in order to gain the patient population that we're trying to attract. So you want to make sure that your staff understands how to do this so that they can talk to patients as well as you. It just makes you bigger and able to attract more patients at once. So budgeting, this is one of the things that people often come to me and say, Christy, I just have no idea how much to spend, or I feel like I've spent a ton of money and had no results. We're going to talk about the results aspect and how you can measure that here in a few slides later. But let's talk about when you're talking about budgeting, what you need to include. So if you're putting together a marketing budget, we're very early in the year 2018. So now is a good time to be doing your budgeting for what you're going to spend throughout the year. But your budget for marketing includes your staff or contracted service or any programs that you might be interested in looking at that might help you with marketing. Your website and your domain. Usually there's a domain fee monthly. It's not very much, but you want to make sure you're still including that in your budget. Your website, any updates. If you don't have a website, you need to put a budget in there for that as well. Or if you need to create a new website, you definitely need to make sure that's in that budget. Any Yellow Pages advertising. I'm just going to say right now, you can almost cross this off your list. Most of the clients that are working in the healthcare space, we really don't need to have a Yellow Pages presence anymore, just because everything is more online of what we're trying to do in the space of growing our healthcare practices. Logo design, if you don't have a logo, we're going to need to get a logo for you. And so you want to make sure that you do budget for that. Social media marketing and design, you are going to have an element of social media presence out there. You just have to move into that space sooner than later because your competition is going to be out there. And really any form of media advertising, if you're going to do TV or radio or something in the newspaper, any kind of online Google ads, anything at all that includes anything, any form of marketing, you want to make sure you put it in your budget. The important reasons to have a budget is so you don't fall victim to salespeople walking in the door saying, hey, we're, Super Bowl Sunday is a Sunday and we have a great television flight. And, for $5,000, we can have your ads running and, all these great things. And you're like, wow, well, I feel like I need to do this because if I don't, there's only so many spots and maybe my competition will grab it. And if you don't have a budget in place, you have no way of controlling that emotion that someone is trying to trigger on the other side, from the sales side of things. And so you could say, if you have a budget in place and you've got a budget for television marketing for your TV stations, and just say, hey, my budget for the year is, $10,000 for TV marketing, for marketing on television. I'm willing to allot, $2,000 for this because I've got that into my budget. And yes, Super Bowl's going to be watched. And, if I can have a presence out there, that would be kind of cool. And, show me what you can do. Show me what you're looking at for your, the people that are going to be watching this ad. And let's see if we can put something together. And I'm just putting Super Bowl out there just because it's, it's coming up, but just know if you have a budget in place, when you talk to that salesperson as a business professional and say, hey, this is my budget for this. This is what I can do. You're going to pull the power back. And you're going to be the one that's going to be able to say, hey, I only have this much money to spend. You need to go back to the drawing board and come back to me with a good number. Okay. So that's the reason why we need to budget. So just kind of an example of a good budget is, and I'm sorry that yellow there in the background, I changed up, but it's still not showing up very good. But these are kind of some different marketing ideas. So a postcard campaign, this is something you might want to consider quarterly. You don't want to do a postcard campaign every single month because it's going to get expensive really fast. But a postcard campaign can be specific to zip code. And if you're working with the right marketing team, they're going to go in and do some market research for you. And they're going to find the household numbers for the zip code that you're looking at that's going to provide you with the best return on your investment for that postcard campaign. You can use this to announce new services, new providers that you might have into your practice. Maybe you've got a special going on. You can highlight your services. Don't put too much on there because with a postcard, it's going to be a brief viewing of something. It's going to have your phone number on it, just some very brief ideas. And I'm going to show you some examples here. But if you're going to do a postcard campaign, I would definitely recommend about $5,000 for a postcard campaign for a budget for that. Social media marketing, I recommend about $25 to $30 a day with about $750 a month. And you don't necessarily always need to have that in there, but just know that if you're trying to do a push or you're trying to gain more patients, trying to get more likes, this is for the boosted posts that you're doing, or maybe an online social media ad. Doing a regular post costs you nothing. I just want you to know that. Let's make sure we differentiate the two. This is where if you have a special, or you're trying to gain more readers and you're trying to get more likes and more people watching your Facebook feed, and this is very common early in the early days of developing social media, you have to do what's called boosted posts, where people are going out and you're reaching out beyond your own network to gain more readers. Okay, so this is what's called a boosted post or an ad in social media, where you're going to have to spend some money. Web impression ads, these are Google AdWords, those types of things where you've got, rotating ads happening, $300-400 a month. Social media management, someone to manage your social media content so it gets done. Okay, you're going to need to put a budget in there for that. Even if it's someone that's already in your office, if they're already in your office and they're working full time for you, they were doing something else during this time. So you're going to have to reassign that work to someone else to make sure it still gets done. And so, in order to make sure that you do have someone that takes care of your social media management, make sure you budget and allow for that time. Don't forget any staff time, contracted services that you might be using to develop any ads that there might be a fee associated with. So just know that you're going to have some budget in there and some money that you're going to need to spend. And it's important to budget that in. If you have to go over budget and someone comes to you with a good reason and you feel good about, as a business owner, I feel like this is a good idea, then that's okay. All right. So let's go ahead and let's do another quick poll here and see what we have here to about launching here. So when we're talking about launching a program successfully, there are some different challenges that happen. Like you get excited about an idea, you start to, when you want to implement. Sometimes it's easy to get distracted because you're getting pulled in multiple directions. Maybe you have other projects going on in your clinic, and it's hard to get buy-in from other people. So, just to kind of get a flavor for who's on the call and in regards to tracking goals, then let's just sort of get a little pulse on that. Goals are super important. Whenever I start working with a client, or, and I know a lot of people that are in my line of work, we often want to start with an end in mind. Where do you want to be? That's what your goal is. And then you need to build a roadmap on how to get there. How do we create a success plan so that we can make sure that we accomplish what it is that we're trying to do? So, it's important to make sure that we do put goals out there when we're trying to launch something. It looks like we've got quite a few, and I want to make sure we stay on track so we have time for questions at the end. So I'm going to close that for now. So in marketing, it's important to find the right candidates. And I always start with where you are. I don't know if you guys have read that book, but if you get a chance, look up the title, Start Where You Are. It's actually by the author of the person who lived the life of Pursuit of Happiness. If you haven't read any of his work before, it's very interesting. But Start Where You Are essentially is, okay, where am I at right now in this process, so that you have your starting point right there. You don't need to collect a lot of things to move forward. We're going to start where we're at. Your current patient base is a great place to start. Everyone here has practices that are on this call. I think everyone already has a practice, and we're just trying to build and grow a specific niche. And no matter how much you say you're doing as far as communicating that message out there, your patients don't always have access to that information, or they don't remember because they're just hearing it once. They're coming to see you for something else, and then you're throwing something else at them, or maybe they see a flyer or something else around the space. You want to make sure that you're communicating to all your current patient databases. So whether that's through a postcard mailer, through an email communication, Facebook, whatever it is, you want to start with your current patients. Let them know what you're doing. Let them know you've got this new service you're offering. How do we make that work? Referring physicians, it's going to be different than it is for your traditional insurance model. Just know that some of your referring physicians are not going to be interested in referring you patients for cash services or regenerative medicine. A lot of it is around the fact that they're worried that you're going to take that patient and they're not going to have access to that patient anymore. You're going to make them better in the surgeon's case, then they're not going to need surgery. But a lot of them don't understand if they have not taken the opportunity to go to some of these courses about some of these outlying specialties. They might not be as comfortable because they don't have the awareness. So it's up to you to create that current awareness for them. Great referring physicians and clinicians that we find are, chiropractors, physical therapists, internal medicine doctors, sports medicine doctors. All those doctors are kind of a little bit more receptive and open to some of these new services that are being offered out there in the orthopedic and pain management space, and even in aesthetics. Obtaining new patients directly, we're going to talk about that. Patient referrals, we're going to talk about patient testimonials and repeat business. How do we get patients in and how do we keep them coming back? So additional facts about finding the right demographic. 8 in 10 of online health information seekers say they began their search at a search engine. For those of you that do not understand what a search engine is like Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Yahoo, Bing. Those are search engines. So it's important that you're looking on each of these search engines to see where you show up for different things that you're trying to promote in your specialty. 52% of adult smartphone users say they've used their phone to look up health or medical information online. Now, I know that, might not impact you very much at this point when we're just talking about it, but I'm going to tell you why it's important to know this fact because this number is increasing. These statistics only come out, once every couple of years. But if your website or your social media platform or whatever it is that you're using to communicate is not smartphone ready or smartphone adaptable, chances are good your content is not being reviewed on smartphones. And if more than 50% of the adult population is using their phone to research information and your website is not compatible for that, people can't find you. They're not going to look. They're not going to scroll back and forth to see, to read a page worth when they could go to the next line item and everything shows up nice and neat on a smartphone. So you need to make sure that your website and whatever message you're communicating is smartphone friendly and it's compatible with smartphone users. All right. Here's a camp secret. Those of you that have been to camp know that there's always a camp song, or if you've heard me talk before, I talk a little bit about camp secrets. This is a little tidbit of information that's important for you all to know. What percentage of women make the decision for healthcare in their families? 92%. So what does that tell you? It tells you, for everyone on the phone, that we need to tailor to the ladies. We need to have a message that is attractive to women so that they say, they want to learn more. And it doesn't mean that everything has to be kind of girly goo on your website or on your ads. It just means that you have to have a message that is going to be attractive to women for them to go, even if it's about a male service, because they're searching for their husbands or their boyfriends or their fathers or, whatever. You want to make sure that if it's going to be easy for them to find. I can tell you what the ladies like, and any of the ladies that are on the phone are probably going to tell you the same thing, that when they're looking on your site, if they can't click on the phone number and it auto smart dials, we're going to go on to something else. That if there's not an easy way for us to click on a link and it takes us to the information that we want, if your website isn't friendly so that we can find, we don't have to go through a bunch of clutter to find what we're looking for. Those are the things that are what, people are looking for now, and especially women. And if we're making more of the healthcare decisions, we definitely want to make sure that we are tailoring to what your population of readers is looking for. So let's go to websites. On websites, don't get too over specific. Basic information. You don't want to make your website look like a clinical medical textbook. Those of you that ask me to review your websites, don't be offended if I start to pull off some of all that scary information. First of all, people don't read it. They don't understand it. And so you want to have basic information. We want to make sure that our readers are educated in what you're doing and that they have a basic understanding. But I would recommend that if they want to learn more about their condition, you put a link to a good resource for it. Don't put it all on your website because it clutters it up. But if, WebMD has a great article, or if you know of a great article that's online about the condition that you want to highlight on your website, or some of the conditions that you're highlighting on your website, let them be the experts. Then they can click on that and look at that information. But make sure, here's another camp secret, that it opens in a new window. It doesn't replace the window that they're on, because we don't want them necessarily leaving your site to go to another site. And if it opens in a new window, it still keeps your site open in the background, if that makes sense. You want to have a video. Those of you that are not on videos, they're not using videos, you're going to get very comfortable with that over time, and sooner than later, because the doctors that are putting videos out there, especially of themselves, and we're just talking about a nice casual video that just introduce your staff, maybe talks a little bit about your clinic and what you're doing and the services that you're offering. It is important for people to be able to see you as a real person and know that, that you're there, and they know what you look like, and it creates that bond with them, with you instantly. And they feel that connection with you. Graphics need to be nice, clean, and fresh. If you're in pain and orthopedics and the first thing you pull up is you see someone that shows a reflection of pain where we've got those red inflamed joints, that's kind of detracting to people that are reading this. They're like, wow, that looks painful. Ow. We want it to be something that's clean and fresh and happy, and that it's more of the image of who we're trying to be, not where we are, if that makes sense. Payment portals are important. You want to be able to collect money online for people that are collecting bills, and especially for those of you that are moving into a space where people are either buying products through your clinic and they can buy them online, or they're paying bills online that they want to pay for their service up front. Payment portals, they need to be easy for people to use, and I do recommend you have an online payment portal. Basic procedure descriptions. We're going to look at a few sites. Hopefully, if the internet is actually working with us in this platform, we should be able to review that as well. Procedure descriptions, testimonials, both video and written. Really work on trying to make sure that you find out who's a friend of yours, who is willing to give testimonials, and just start collecting them now. Don't wait till you got a camera or some different setup. Just start collecting that information so that you can start utilizing that information sooner than later. It's really important. So in talking about some of the procedure descriptions, if you're utilizing things like a C-arm to identify a specific area, or if you're ultrasound trained, or if you're using the highest quality PRP, or whatever that process is, make sure that you are using that product description out there so that you're using that to your benefit. Just say, I'm highly trained in ultrasound guidance, and I feel that this is the best way to view the ligaments or the tendons or the joints that I'm going to be injecting on you. Make sure that you talk about that a little bit. So I'm going to go to a quick poll about that. Just to kind of find out if who's using ultrasound out there. And if you're, needing to learn more about ultrasound, we'll make sure we have some resources for you if you're needing to learn a little bit more about ultrasound. This is a quick, easy answer because it's just like a yes or no. So we've got lots of people responding very quickly. I appreciate that so much. And you guys have been a great audience. While I'm waiting for you guys to answer that poll, I'm just going to go to the Q&A and see if there's some Q&A in there. So just make sure if you do have some questions along the way, just type it in that Q&A box because that's what we're going to use. There's a few of them in there, but I'll make sure that we get to that before the end of the call today. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close this because we've got quite a few people that have answered. All right. Is your website helping you find your ideal patient? Is your website a tool that helps you find new patients, or is it just a resource for your current patients to use? Okay. Are people able to find you? What message does your website convey? Is it on a platform that's easy to update? What is your web traffic each month? For those of you that are not monitoring these things, chances are good your website is not a tool. It's out there. It is a presence, which is great. But if it doesn't have fresh, clean content and people can't find and navigate their way around in there very well, then it's not necessarily a good tool for you. And we need to make it a good, effective tool because all of the marketing that's happening now works in conjunction with everything else. And so you want to make sure that you're able to view that. I'm going to do a quick chat here. Can people still see my screen? I just want to make sure people can still see my screen. So if you can just click yes answer yes down there in the bottom. Okay, good. All right. I just had this pop up and I just want to make sure you all can still see my screen. So I appreciate that. Thank you. I want to make sure you can see what we're looking at here. All right. So in talking about your website, you want to make sure it's a good tool that's easy for people to navigate around through. More importantly, you have to review your web traffic each month. Sometimes that can be a little humbling. But again, remember the previous couple slides where I said we need to start where we are. We have to have a point of where we're at in order to set goals on where we want to be. So it is important that we do review that web traffic, especially if we're putting goals in place on getting more hits on our website. All right. Is it on a platform that's easy to update? You should have a platform that's very easy to update. WordPress is the platform that we need to be on in today's market to make it Google friendly, to make it easy to find out there on the web. And I do recommend that if your website is not of a WordPress platform, one of the first things you do after today's call is find someone who can get your website updated to WordPress. Okay. It's really important that you do that because it's going to be very difficult to accomplish some of your other goals if you don't do that. Okay. We need to monitor that web traffic. And what does your website convey? Sometimes if you haven't looked at your website in a while, it's got procedures on there that you don't offer anymore. You've got staff on there that aren't on there, maybe even physicians on there that don't practice there anymore. And you want to, or maybe there's links that are broken and that don't work. And so that just, when people see that, it kind of creates an unprofessional look. Doesn't make you any better or worse of a doctor or clinician. It just, we just want to make sure that you're set in the most professional state that you possibly can be. And your website's a great place to start. All right. Common website mistakes that I see are too much information. There's no call to action. People get to your website. There's a lot of information out there, but they don't know what you want them to do next. We almost have to be told and guided as patients to know what is the next step. If you want more information, fill out this brief form. Call my office. We're scheduling appointments. If you can integrate an online appointment scheduler, even better. Those are things that people love to see when they are, looking at a website. I know some of you that are moving into the aesthetic space or the spa space, they love online scheduling. I know me as a busy professional and I travel a ton. If I want to make an appointment with my masseuse or my spa, when I go to their site and I can do online scheduling, I can do that from the airplane and boom, they've got business booked the next day because they've created that kind of ease of booking with their patients. I know you can't do that for everything, but there are a lot of things that you can do that for. If you don't have videos on your website, that's a critical mistake. You need to have videos on your website in order to have it create that organic SEO that's going to get you higher up on the search pages and just kind of create more visibility to your practice. And no automatic fill forms. So I'm going to show you a couple of examples here real quick. Let me see, because I'm not sure if it will let me do that. Yeah, because we're in so I'm going to go to this site real quick. All right. So hopefully you all can see this screen here. If not, just go to that website real quick. Just type it in and go to it. And you can do it at your own leisure. But as you can see, immediately what comes up is a pop-up to know more about regenerative medicine. This doctor is really pushing on his regenerative medicine side. First name, last name, email address, phone number. How can we help you best? Yes, I want to know more. Creates that online form that people can use 24 hours a day. And then that goes to goes into their clinic and then someone can call them back. We've got nice, happy people on the screen that rotate. So it creates some movement on the screen, talking about stem cell therapies on this page. But then each page there's a couple little sections here if you want to learn more about pain management, shoulder pain, neck pain. These are all easy tabs for people to look at. There's videos on here. So, this doctor's got a few videos out here as well about some of the procedures that he's done. Makes it really easy for people to navigate through this page. Okay. We specialize in regenerative medicine. Request a consult today. Here's another button with a link. Schedule an appointment. Here's the appointment form. Links to his social media platforms. These are all great things. A little bit about the doctor and patient forms. It does not have a lot of super scary clinical information on there. It's very basic and very clean and very friendly. Okay. In essence of time, I'm going to stay on track with this, but Wellness One Memphis, if you go to that site, it's a beautifully done site and it's very helpful in understanding the different sites that you want to have. I'm actually going to type it in the chat box so that everyone has it. And then you can go to it when you have time on your own. There you go. There's that other site right there that you can go to. All right. What about SEO? Okay. I'm not calling anyone out, and I'm not trying to insult anyone, just that SEO is one of those kind of misnomers in marketing where everyone felt like they needed to pay for SEO to get higher up on the search engine pages. The thing about search engine optimization is that, yes, we all want to optimize our search engine capabilities. However, it costs a lot of money sometimes to get up high on those pain management spaces, and it all depends on what keywords people are searching for. What demographic you're in. I mean, if you're in New York City and you want to be on the first page for pain management in New York City, I can just about guarantee you're going to have to spend about $10,000 a month just to get on that first page. But don't despair. It doesn't mean that you can't be found on the web. I just want you to know that search engine optimization is not something you need to pay for individually. There's other ways to create what we call organic search engine optimization that's going to drive you business. One of the other things about SEO that I find, when I'm talking to providers and they're saying, hey, I spent a whole bunch of money on SEO and I'm not getting any patients. Well, that's because search engine optimization doesn't necessarily get you patients. Does it mean that marketing company did something wrong? No, they just provided the service that the doctor was asking for. So now you have the power of knowing what are the different options with search engine optimization. And the thing is for you to know is that just because you become higher up on a search engine does not mean it's going to bring you patients. It's going to get you higher up on that page so that people can maybe find you easier, click on you, and then maybe call you. But I think there's cheaper ways and better ways, more effective ways to get patients in than paying for SEO. And so it's important to know what SEO is so that you can be a good business owner and make good decisions for your business. All right, social media, we're going to dive in here. For those of you that are going to start breaking out in a cold sweat, I'm just going to lay it out right now. I'm just going to rip it off like a Band-Aid. If you're not on social media, on the social media platforms and all the social media platforms for the most part, just know that you need to be, okay? We have to be on social media in order to create a good, strong marketing message for the patient population that is out there looking for services. Okay. So we're just going to dive in about the different advantages of social media. First of all, social media marketing, much lower marketing costs than SEO, than paid print ads, than really any form of marketing that there is. Finely tuned targeted marketing. You can fine tune it to zip codes, specific likes, dislikes, men, women. There's so much you can fine tune this for that makes it so easy for you to create your niche market. It helps you generate better search engine rankings. If you're on social media, you're going to be found on a couple different pages. And this was really interesting. We did some work with a doctor for these last couple months, and we just started researching, just Googling his name. And I always recommend you Google your name, your business name, as well as your own personal name out onto a search engine, at least once a quarter, see what comes up. But because he was out on social media platforms, it actually gave him 4 or 5 rankings on that first page because he had a big, strong social media presence in Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. And so he came up like there really wasn't anyone else on the page, which is awesome. Between that and Health Grades and ZocDoc and some of the other things that he had going on, he pretty much ate up the whole page, which was awesome because then he's really likely to get the business. So it is important that you are out there on social media. It helps generate those better search engine rankings, higher conversion rates. We're going to talk about some interactions with Facebook, and obviously Facebook's the primary one, but it helps build things in on the other sides as well. It's very measurable. You're going to get statistics that are going to tell you how are your ads working. No newspaper ad can tell you that. It's going to be, unless you have a different phone number tied to that newspaper ad so that when someone calls it, it rings at a different office or rings in a different way so that you can actually track those calls coming in. But it's very measurable and it creates improved patient loyalty. Everyone is on social media. Well, most everyone. I know a few people that aren't yet, but it's important that you're out there on social media. It's very rare to find someone that doesn't have any form of social media feed in their personal lives and their business lives right now. Why do I need to be on Facebook? I can think of about 231 million reasons, because that's the number from the end of quarter two of 2016. It's probably up in the 250, maybe even up to 300 million users right now. That's why you need to be on Facebook. There's all these reasons of why you need to be on Facebook. All right, things that get organic SEO. And we were talking about search engine optimization earlier, and the things that are going to get you more organic SEO are videos, Google reviews, testimonials from your patients, being on social media like we just talked about. I just kind of really nailed that and hit that home. But yes, social media is going to get you a lot of that organic SEO. Being on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, those Google reviews are important, and it's important to be asking for those and make it easy for people to do that. Facebook ads. Facebook ads, you want to keep them simple. You want to target your ad to specific interest and demographics, target your ad geographically, set a budget so that you don't get out of hand. And the nice thing about Facebook is that you can set it by day, or you can put a total budget in. Like you said, okay, I'm willing to spend $600 on this ad between this day and this day. Then Facebook, based on their algorithms of who's on Facebook, they can decide when they're going to push your ad out there. Makes it really nice. Okay. And have a call to action on there. Really important. Do you need a business page? Yes, you need a business page. Your business page could be your own personal physician name, if that is kind of your business. Like if you're known as ABC Dr. MD, make your business page that, but don't have your personal page. If you have a personal page, and a lot of you do, don't have your personal page also become your business page, because then people can see you on, when you're on vacation, things like that. And that's not necessarily, especially in healthcare. So create a business page so that you have a safe place for your personal photos and your family trips and things like that. Just because you have a business page and you have people liking your business page does not mean they become your personal friends, in quotes, so to speak, on Facebook or on social media. Okay. Just know that it does, they're going to just be on the business page. It's up to you to decide if you want to let them become your friends on Facebook. Okay. Just know the difference on that. You're going to have posts out there. Don't build a Facebook page and then go, well, Chrissy, I didn't get any results from my Facebook page. Well, what are you posting? Are you boosting any ads? What is your content like? Who are you targeting? There's a lot of other things along there that you're going to be able to use to drive your posts. So you're asking people, do you have a sign in your waiting room asking people to like your Facebook page? Have little contests in your office about how many people you can get signed up for Facebook. Ask, make it part of your day-to-day, registration process. Hey, please go like us on Facebook to, for more tips about what's happening in our practice, and see how many people you guys can get, to be new likes on your Facebook page. Reviews on your Facebook page is important. That's another aspect of Facebook that's been really nice. Having those videos out there, making sure your Facebook always connects to your landing page, which are digital ads. I'm going to show you some of those in just a moment. Or your website. Make sure there's links back to you so that people know how to find you. Close that gap. Make it very consistent. It's like, okay, you're on my Facebook page if you want to learn more, because I haven't shared enough on this ad. They want to go to the website to book an appointment, or the landing page, you're going to click on it to go. All right. These Facebook pages, I'm just afraid that when I switch screens, it's not showing up for you. So I'm just going to type up. So if you go onto your Facebook page, here's a good one that you can search for. Wellness One Memphis. Midwest Interventional Spine Specialist is another great one. And then this one here, go to Angie Sadiki. She's a gastroenterologist that does an awesome job about using videos and building a business using social media. So her name again is, I'm just going to type that here into the chat box so that you can see it here. There you go. All right. That way you've got that. All right. Let's go ahead and run another quick little poll on if you're doing any regenerative medicine services yet. So if you guys could just take a quick second to answer that, and then we'll kind of finish up with our slides. All right, just to kind of hit a little bit more on Facebook. In order to get more likes, you need to do your posts often, 3 to 4 times a week, unless you're pushing for a specific something, like you've got an event going on or you've got a special promotion going on. You're probably going to need to do it even more, but you need to post often. Once or twice a month just is not going to keep you up on people's feeds, and it's not going to get you the traction that you're looking for. You want to put some videos out there. You want to boost the posts that you're really trying to get the message out there. And so when you boost a post, you're going to be able to choose a specific geographical area or target a specific market to hit in those areas for people that you're trying to definitely get in front of. Okay. Followers turn into clients and turn into patients. It doesn't happen overnight, but what we have seen in the trends is that people that start to follow your feeds become people who follow you in the clinic. Okay. It's just the way business goes. Just again, think about your own buying processes. Video patient testimonials are a great way to get more attraction onto your Facebook page. Make sure you have the proper patient approval. You need to make sure you have that consent form on file. Okay. All right. Landing pages. Landing pages are a great way to use what we call a digital ad. Okay. These are known as lead capture page or a lander or a destination page. And when you signed up for this webinar, you hit on a landing page, just so you know. So it was an ad that in a content page, it was specific about this webinar. So that was a landing page. And we use landing pages a lot with helping our team market for our different providers, because when we post something on social media or out, even if we're doing an ad of some kind, there's a landing page where we can start to gather more information about what that patient's looking for. Okay. There's website options on there. You're going to edit the content and you can keep these digital ads to use for later. Again, regenwellnessdoctor.com. There's a really nice landing page out there that you can take a look at. I'll make sure I share all those screenshots with everyone that's on the call today. It's kind of a bonus because now that I know that this platform, it doesn't let me swing back and forth from page to page. I'll make sure I share all those links with you, so that I'll just send it out in the follow-up email with the recording so that you have those access to those links, and then you can look at them so you have those examples for you. That way you can stay focused on the call here. So what is pay-per-click or boosted post? I've talked a lot about that, but a boosted post is an internet advertising model used to direct search engine traffic to a certain web page. Okay. So here in this screen here, you can see what's called an ad. So if you're searching for something on Google and this ad comes up, that's a paid ad. A lot of people know that when they look at those. Sometimes if they want to see an ad, they might go after it, but they come up in other areas too. They'll come up on the side. They'll come up on your social media feeds if you're searching for those types of things. A pay-per-click or a boosted post is something you must pay money for. Pay-per-click is that every time someone hits on it, it dings you a little bit of money. So if you put a budget together for, like, say $500 for a specific ad link for a specific post, that every time you do that, it's going to essentially run that money down. And you're going to get all of those statistics of what's been looked at and, how long they stayed on the page. That's really nice in social media. But just know that a boosted post or pay-per-click is something you definitely need to spend money on. Events, patient education seminars. The pros and cons of patient education seminars is that you're in front of your people. You get to spend time with them face to face. The cons are sometimes they can be expensive and they're difficult to manage. And if you don't have enough people, you feel silly talking to, 1 or 2 people, or maybe no one shows up. And then it's, sometimes your staff has to manage the content and the emails and everything. And sometimes that can be difficult. But they're great ways. I'm not saying they're bad, but you just want to make sure that you have a good plan in place or someone to support you in getting those people there and making sure that the content's ready and that you have a good follow-up process. Online events are another great way. We just started implementing this in the last 6-8 months, where we host online events where we target a specific market, specific geographical area. The doctor pre-records his webinar similar to what we're doing here right now. And then we send it out to their email list. We've put it out on social media. Then we boost those posts. It drives traffic fast because people are looking at these things. They can watch those anytime. They don't have to show up at a specific event or specific time if it doesn't work for them. So a good combination, healthy balance of both is a great way to do that. Okay. Go lives are another great way. If you're doing a procedure in your office and everyone's compliant and happy with doing a go live, and I just urge you to go to Future Medical Group, Marin, on their Facebook page. Holly Kelly actually did a go live on her PRP of her hip or knee. I can't remember. But anyway, she did go live on there, and where they actually videotaped her procedure. She was trying to prepare for several half marathons and a marathon spree that she was going on. I say spree because when you look at the rest of her Facebook page, it's like, oh my gosh, that's all this girl does is run, which is awesome because she felt good enough to do that. But it was a great story. And the fact that she went live, first of all, it gives patients comfort knowing that, oh, if this doctor is willing to do this live on video, obviously this is a safe procedure. It doesn't hurt that much. And I feel good about, it gives them some more comfort. Okay. More buy-in. So just get ready to get out there. The entire goal is to get more phone calls and more scheduling patients. Okay. That's the goal. Know the lingo, know what website visitors are. That's counting the number of people who visit your website. Not only do you want to measure the number of people, but how long they stay on and what links they go to. Okay. Don't just say, wow, we had 500 visitors this month. Well, how long did they stay on the page? If it's 2 seconds or 5 seconds or less, chances are good they went to your page and then went right out of it. But if they're staying on for like 30, 40 seconds and then clicking to more links, obviously they're interested in something. And then when you take those statistics of how many people are clicking on specific links, that's creating a niche market. That tells you how many people are interested in this service that you're putting out there on your website. Bounce rate. This is the ratio of people who came to your site, stayed less than a couple, and then they left right away. Okay. Average time on site, how long people are spending. Pages per session, how many pages are they looking at. Percentages of new visitors. These are all things that your web people should be able to tell you and on a regular basis. Your strategy overview is to dominate the marketplace and whatever it is that you're trying to do, whether it's regenerative medicine, cash services, generate constant pain management traffic or orthopedic or aesthetic or whatever it is. You want to make sure that you have a good strategy of what it is that you're trying to do. Have a good, healthy balance of pay-per-click advertising, social media content, display ads, which includes all your landing pages and your website, and create a regenerative therapy or a focused website that is specific to what you're trying to do. Your goal is to trying to get more patients that are interested in your services. Other keys to finding the right patient, consider free consultations. I don't always recommend this just because you don't want your days eaten up with all these people coming in for a free service that really are not good candidates for the therapy you're trying to promote. So be cautious about that. Educating your staff, definitely key. If your staff doesn't know about this and they're not on board with this, they are not going to help you be successful. Not even because they don't care or they're not trying. They just don't have an awareness of the understanding of it. They just can't help you. So make sure that you take time to educate your staff. Educate your current patient base. We talked about earlier. Use a healthy combination of the different marketing campaigns. Email campaigns, import your database. Talked about this on the beginning of the call. Continue to build that database. With MIPS and MACRA out there, capturing an email is critical, one of the critical points of getting all your MIPS and MACRA points. Do not isolate your ideas. Don't get so tied in or worried about what other people thinking that it doesn't help you bloom and blossom into something new. Learn who's reading what. You can track that if you're using the right email marketing campaign like MailChimp, Infusionsoft, Constant Contact. You can look back through and see who's reading, who's doing what. If you're using Outlook, it's much harder, and that's not as secure. So use something that makes it easier for you to track and create reports, and put monthly newsletters out there. And once you do that, you can actually add that to your blog, put that on your social media feed. There's so many places that you can use a monthly newsletter. Postcard campaigns, keep it very simple. They're a primary marketing tool. You can target specific demographics and income states. These are going to create an immediate influx of patients. It's kind of expensive, but it is a great source of revenue generation for your practice. Readership is high, but it needs a call to action. Again, just a few words on there to make it easy. Billboards, I do like billboards still. There's a lot of digital billboards out there. They're kind of pricey, but you know what? Fight for the right number for you. Just fight for something that's going to make sense for you financially. 6 to 10 words is all you need on these billboards. If you have too much out there, your message is going to get lost, and people just are not going to be able to remember what it is that you were trying to tell them. So you want to keep it simple. Really, 6 months is about the minimum amount of time you want to have a billboard out there, or before you change it. There's other referral websites out there. Discover Stem Cell Therapy, for those of you who are on the call to learn more about getting more regenerative medicine or stem cell patients. There's a few resources out there where you can register. Might cost you a little bit of money, but in the end, it's not very much, and it gets you listed in the rest of the experts out there, and your patients can find you easier. So look for some of those sites. Utilize other online marketing, the animated videos we've talked a lot about. They can actually increase your conversion by up to 80%. Newsletters and infographics, these are printed material in your office. They're going to be a nice support to everything else that you're doing. Things to do online: record your successes, video and written patient testimonials, convert your patients on your site through patient education materials. Update your site regularly. Don't let it sit there and collect dust like the equipment in your back closet. Make sure you're taking a look at that website. Use visual items as much as you possibly can. Have good calls to action. Bury negative posts. I'm going to talk about this for a second, because the only way you can bury negative posts on social media is by getting more positive reposts. So it's important to review that, see it, know it's there, just get over it and go out and get more people that like you. Okay. People often do not look beyond the first page. So if you get more positive reviews, that negative review is going to get lost very quickly if you are getting more people out there saying that they do like and appreciate your service. Control your site, your logins, and your domains. For those of you that are working with an outside company, do not let them hold your information hostage. You own that domain. Even if you have to register it yourself and give them access to it, don't make them administrators on there where they can control the passwords and steal it away and then come back and charge you more later. Say, oh, well, that's my content. That's my domain. No, it's not. You paid for it. If you paid for it, it's yours. There's nothing trademarked about medical content or website data. It's, if you've paid for it, you make sure you own it and that you can take it and transfer it to someone else if you need more help on your website down the road. Just know that don't let someone hold you hostage for that. Hold your marketing team accountable with measurable reports. Things to avoid online. Don't register with all social media resources like Angie's List, Craigslist, things like that. Stay away from, I don't mind Yelp depending on what service industry you're in, but Yelp sometimes can be a little bit tricky for healthcare providers to manage. Don't engage with disgruntled patients online. Create a blanket statement that if someone gets, kind of angry online with one of your services, just address it so that your other readers can see that you addressed it, that you saw the post. Do something very blank and easy that says, thank you so much for reaching out. Just give our office a call. We'd be happy to discuss your situation. Something very blanket, very easy. Don't get into a chatter battle with these guys because you're not going to win. I can just about guarantee it. Don't do this alone. Don't think if you're a busy doctor that you're going to be able to open your own Facebook page, manage your social media, create ads, do all these things. Don't do this alone. Your best time is spent when you're doing procedures. Let someone else whose expert area is doing this kind of stuff. Okay, so let someone else be the expert. You need to be in control of it. You need to be able to understand it, but don't be the one that's trying to do all that work. Don't overpromise and underdeliver, and don't waste money on services. This is going to get us into the FDA. And actually, someone popped in asking about the FDA guidelines. You want to make sure you are very careful about what you are posting out there in social media, especially if you're in the regenerative medicine or stem cell space. Okay. You need to know what products it is that you are offering. If you are not really truly creating platelet-rich plasma, but it's just plasma, and that's like if you're mixing it in test tubes where you're not concentrating the PRP, don't call that PRP, because if, someday someone might look at that and call you out on it and say, hey, is that really PRP? How are you testing it? What's your protocol on that? It's okay to say that you have a plasma therapy, but don't call something PRP if you're not sure that's what it is. Okay. The FDA regulations are very clear on that. If you are not offering a stem cell product, which is truly a stem cell product, we're talking about bone marrow for the most part right now. Make sure that you are not, if you're saying you're offering stem cell therapy, make sure you're offering stem cell therapy. Platelet-rich plasma is not stem cell therapy. Now, I can guarantee you, I can speak with all honesty that there are a lot of clinicians and physicians out there that are very, very, very educated and very, very intelligent that are struggling with understanding the differences with these two. So I can tell you right now that a general marketing company out there that is saying, oh yeah, I can market your regenerative medicine practice, let me do it for you, they definitely don't understand the differences. So unless they can come in and tell you the differences between each of the services that they're offering, don't engage with them, or don't let them be the ones to write your content, because they are going to get you into a sticky wicket. I can just about guarantee you, and someone will find it. Pay attention to trademark names. Vampire Facial, O-Shot, P-Shot, those things are all trademark names. If you don't have the rights to that trademark, don't use it, because you're going to get caught. You'll get found out, and then you're going to have to pull your website down, and you're going to have to go through a kind of a re-compliance effort, depending on where you've been reported to. Watch for over-promising statements. I kind of skipped on that, outside of the approvals and the protocols that you have in hand on your products. Know what your marketing message is, and no matter who is doing this, just know you are responsible for the content that is out there. They are working as an extension of you. So the responsibility lies on you to make sure you've got the right message out there. Don't let a marketing company get you in trouble for something that you're responsible for. Okay. Know what that message is, which is why you need to be meeting with your marketing people on a consistent basis. And you need to educate your staff and people about what they're doing. Now, I know you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, Christy, now I'm really scared about marketing. I don't know how I'm going to get all this done. And it is a lot of work. It's a challenge to take on, but it is important that we do this. Don't be scared to dip your toe in the water because you haven't checked the temperature yet. You've got the temperature now. You know what the platform is. Now you just need the right people to help you grow and build your practice safely. And there are a lot of companies out there they're able to do that. But I'll throw out there a little bit about what we're doing. This is what people are saying about us. Talking about our happy clients, and they're all really happy. So in closing, the road to marketing success is decide what you want to market, decide who you want to market to, decide, measure your success and the effectiveness of your efforts, and work with experts. Okay, we do have a few questions. I've got one more quick poll. I'm just going to do this quick poll here so that everyone can take a look at this. All right. And then on our Q&A, we have a couple of questions. How can I measure the outcomes of the marketing that you're doing? There's a couple of ways that you can do that. One of the ways is to obviously look at the hits that you're having on your website, how many people are going to it, and how long they're staying on there. Another way is to create a Google tracking phone number, so that when you're putting an ad out there about something specific, that that they call that number. Now, that doesn't mean there's another phone for you to answer. It can roll right into your regular line, but that way you can see how many calls are actually coming from that particular ad that you have out there. Those are a couple of really good ideas for you. I saw another question on there about the difference between a landing page and a website. Landing pages are actually used in a couple of different ways. They're very effective tools because you can use them down the road. But if you don't have time to get your website up and ready, then you might want to use a landing page as kind of a placeholder with some basic information about your clinic. Okay. And when you look at some of those examples, it's going to make more sense about what I'm talking about. And so I think that's those are great things to answer. We had another question on here about. I'm going to close this poll so you guys can see the screen here. The question on here was, how do you take cash? I could actually do another whole webinar on how to collect money and how to talk about money and cash procedures. But really, the best way to do that is to be honest up front and just say, if you're the doctor and the doctor, patient asks the doctor, is this covered by my insurance? How much is this going to cost? I just recommend you be really honest and say, you know what, Mrs. Smith, it's not covered by your insurance. However, this is a very effective treatment. I really think this is the best treatment for you. My starting rates are about $1,000 for a PRP joint injection. I know if you can't pay that all up front, we can work with you on some payment arrangements. But it's important that we all invest in your healthcare together. And my team is here to help you get the best results that you can. And if you were my mother or my daughter or my wife or whatever, I would recommend this therapy because the results and the studies out there are showing good, positive results. But if it gets to where the patient's like, they want their money back, things like that, make sure your policies are good and strong in place, that this is not a guarantee that you're going to feel 100% better. There are no guarantees in life in any kind of a healthcare specialty. So why would there be now? Okay. So just know that you need to collect that money up front. I don't recommend spreading out payments beyond the treatment. Maybe set up a few payment plans ahead of time, but nothing beyond the treatment. Just because it's, Dr. Rosenthal says this, and I just love this statement. It's hard to get someone to pay for a steak that they ate 6 months ago. It just doesn't happen. But I could do another talk about collecting money actually in your insurance practice as well as your cash practice. So if you're interested in that, just type that in the chat, and then we'll work on getting another webinar scheduled, another healthcare business webinar scheduled to talk about collecting money and how to talk about patients about money and what are some of the different protocols in there. On marketing, there's another question about social media that, we said we recommended social media. What platforms do we use? If we set someone up with social media, I'm just going to say we set you up on all the platforms, and we use automation tools to get, when we post something, that it kind of goes out everywhere to make it easy for those posts to happen. And then we monitor it on the background to let you know, okay, this ad is actually getting more traction. I recommend we boost this post. And so that's really what we do. We get you out on everything. You're on Instagram, you're on Twitter, you're on, the only one we don't do is Snapchat. I don't feel Snapchat is an appropriate social media place in healthcare. I know that there are some businesses that are using Snapchat right now. I know a couple spas that are using Snapchat. They have their own Snapchat kind of page or group. But Snapchat's a little volatile still, and just it's hard to work in. And so the other platforms are very, very popular and very common, and get a really good turnover for it. So I know we've gone over a few minutes. Let me make sure we got a couple more questions come in. That same person I think asked, do you have another webinar on the process on the cash pay? Well, now that you've asked, I think we'll work on getting that scheduled, Jennifer, just so you know, we'll work on getting that scheduled. Okay. And then I also had on here, how can I write a good marketing strategy for your primary clinic? Well, again, that starts with what your goal is. What is your goal that you want to grow in your primary care platform? If you're wanting to bring in more sports medicine, or you want to bring in more wellness patients, or you want to build a concierge practice, it's important to know where you want to go so that you know when you get there. If you're not really sure what it is that you're wanting to market, or what part of your specialty you're trying to grow, it's hard to put a marketing plan together. So my first recommendation would be to know what you want to do. Sit down and really look deep within yourself and say, what do I want to grow in my practice? What do I love doing every day? And that's, a good place to start. What are the things that interest me? And that the things that if I saw these patients all day, every day, I'd be happy. And that'd be the place of where I start. Once you know what it is you want to do, then you can start to build that marketing strategy and that marketing plan based on some of the tips that are on here. And if you have some more questions after that, just send me a quick email and I'll give you some other ideas. So I think we had a great call today. Thank you all so much for joining us. I know that some of you are on your lunch hour, had to reschedule patients, and I know your time is very valuable. And it's one of the things that we can never get back, which is why I want to respect your time here today. This was recorded, as I talked about, and we will make sure that you get this recording. It will be downloaded, and we will get it emailed out to you as quickly as we possibly can. So it'll probably be within the end of the day, if not first thing tomorrow. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me or give me a jingle. I'd be happy to talk with you about building your marketing with any of your practices that you have out there. And I look forward to seeing you on a future webinar down the road. Thank you so much and have a great day.